The war's front line was once a simple ribbon of trenches across the salt flats of Serre Vale. Then, the quantum bomb misfired. It didn't explode outward. It collapsed inward, grinding every probability in a 2-kilometer radius into one snarled fog. Soldiers called the place the Loop. Command called it a probability exclusion zone. Either way, the rules were the same. Nothing leaves the fog intact. Anyone who dies inside resets at sunrise, alive but frayed. Memories rot after 31 loops. Sanity follows. On loop number 18, Sergeant Mara Vance of the Terran Coalition wakes in Trench Delta with gravel in her mouth and someone else's blood on her jacket. She knows the count because she scratched it into a brass cartridge that never resets with her. The cartridge hangs on a cord round her neck. One more line each sunrise. When the brass fills, she fears she'll forget how to count at all. A voice rasps from the mist. "You alive, Sarge?" Kiro Drask, Union Scout, sworn enemy 3 months ago, provisional ally since loop number 4. Tall, ash-skinned, curved tactical tusks jutting from cheekbones. They met when Mara shot him. He bled out, and both woke the next cycle, remembering the fight too clearly to repeat it. The Loop is better at erasing hate than diplomats ever were. "Barely," Mara mutters, hand on her carbine. The weapons magazine is full again, Loop Grace, but the barrel still carries scorch marks from yesterday's firefight. History cleans selectively here. Kiro peers at the horizon, though fog makes every direction the same dirty gray. Ghost artillery will start inside 10 minutes. We move? They move. Same ritual each cycle. Sprint from Delta Trench to the Null Gate, a shimmering curtain where physics whines like boiling glass. On good loops, they reach the gate before shells materialize. On bad ones, they die screaming and wake to start over. Even worse are the loops where they survive only to watch comrades decapitated by probability shear, their bodies rewinding in stuttering frames. Alive, dead, until the loop mercy kills them at dawn. Mara leads, boots crunching salt, compass needle spinning uselessly. She hums to drown the tinnitus that comes with the fog. Kiro points to a flicker on her flank. A quantum echo, transparent duplicate of herself 3 seconds out of sync. Touching an echo scrambles organs. Best to ignore it. At minute 7, the ground trembles. Artillery blossoms overhead. Impossible geometry. Shells splitting into fractal shards, detonating with thunder that arrives before the flash. Shrapnel slices Kiro's shoulder. He hisses but keeps pace. They drop into a collapsed bunker. Mara unwraps medical foam, spraying the wound. Foam seals, but edge glitches. Color cycling blue-green like it can't pick a hue. Loop's getting unstable. Kiro growls through clenched teeth. Fragmentation of constants earlier each cycle. Mara knows. Sunrises have felt shorter too, as if the day itself is losing stamina. They're running out of loops. She withdraws a battered field transmitter the size of a chocolate bar, the courier tag, object of their long repetition. It's quantum entangled to a twin outside the fog. Trouble is, probability static jams any signal, unless the tag clears the perimeter. Someone has to carry it through alive, just once, and pass the message to whichever side cares more about ending the war than winning it. Kiro adjusts his ruined shoulder guard. Ready? Loop 18 lucky. Mara forces a grin. They climb. Fog thickens into quantum rain. Droplets that freeze midair, reverse course, fall upward. Each droplet contains micro-forked futures. Stare too long and you see lives you never lived. Mara drops her visor. They reach the Null Gate. Swirling lattice of turquoise light humming with lethal promise. She raises a sensor slate. The boundary flickers at 93% integrity. Lowest yet. Good and bad. Weak spots might let them through or disintegrate them for good. Same maneuver, she says. Kiro nods. He records a voice clip on the tag, stating date, loop count, Ceasefire coordinates 3 clicks west of the Veil where higher generals agreed peace once, long before bombs fell. Every loop he records it fresh. If this one makes it through, the war might stop. Mara checks compass again, still spinning. She pockets it out of habit. People need rituals. They sprint. Gatefield lashes violet tendrils. Mara dives first, feels every atom protest, like squeezing through electrified honey. On loops 9 and 12, she blacked out inside this transit. Waking after sunrise meant failure. Not today. She tumbles onto cracked asphalt. Outside. Breath whooshes. Gravity feels trustworthy again. She turns, expecting Kiro. He's not behind her. The gate rages, then collapses, closing early. Mara's heart free-falls. She claws toward the shimmer. Too late. She collapses to her knees on asphalt that once belonged to a mining road, tag buzzing in her vest. Her partner, still inside. A dry voice rasps behind. She whirls, carbine up. A soldier in coalition armor, clean, polished, impossible this close to battle, aims a sidearm. Identify, he says. She rattles off rank, serial. He lowers slightly. Extraction team thought the exclusion zone unbreachable. How in hell? No time. My partner, Union Scout, got caught as field shut. He's got intel. We need gate reopen now. The officer frowns. Union? Why would I rescue an enemy? Because if we don't, the loops will crumble and probability fallout will swallow both armies in a year. You want those odds? He hesitates. Mara thrusts the tag into his palm. Data proves it. Get Kiro out. You get peace. You leave him. The Veil becomes a planet-wide loop. A crack sounds. Rifle fire from the fog's rim. The officer jerks, a red hole in his helm. Mara dives as bullets hiss. A Union sniper emerges from rubble. Seeing her coalition patch, he scowls, but lowers weapon when she shouts, "Cease! Same mission!" They stare, guns half raised, until realization dawns in both sets of eyes. There is no coalition or Union out here, only people terrified the loop might expand. Sirens rise, armored transports roll. More troops, mixed insignias, as confused as the first. Word spreads quick. A soldier escaped the fog. The mantra of impossible just became maybe. Loop number 19 again. Sunrise like a blade across Mara's vision. She's back in Delta Trench. Brass cartridge gains a new scratch. But something's changed. Her vest pocket is empty. No tag. Proof the previous loop pushed the message outside. Objects that exit never reset with her. Relief collides with panic. Kiro still inside. And downward in the dirt by her boot sits a small chunk of forged steel shaped like a chess knight. Black Union issue, definitely not hers. It glows, faint azure, Kiro's combat token. He must have thrown it through the gate's closing seam, a sign he's alive. She clenches the knight. Objective remains. Smuggle Kiro out, or none of it matters, because only he can authenticate the message. Artillery again, earlier than last loop. Constance eroding faster. She shouts his name. He appears, limping fresh blood, but his eyes sparkle. You made it outside, he says. Saw headlines in the fog. Probability echo of radio chatter. Some officers believe you. We'll give them certainty. This loop, we both leave. She shows the token, slips it into her pouch. They run. Every hazard accelerates. Fog births Schrödinger hounds, beasts flickering between flesh and math, teeth phasing through barriers. They sprint past crater fields where corpses of comrades exist and unexist each second. One friendly trooper, face familiar, reaches for Mara with pleading eyes, then flips into dust. She can't save everyone. She repeats that like a mantra. Gate ahead flickers like a sputtering bulb. Field won't hold long, Kiro warns. Then we jump early. They clasp wrists. 3, 2, now. They hurl themselves through the gate. Mid-transit, a shock pulse ripples. Field collapses mid-cross. Mara feels her body splice, probabilities peeling like petals. Pain like birthing a star in an ocean simultaneously. She screams, refuses to let go of Kiro. Blackness. Sunrise loop, number 20. Mara gasps awake, not in trench, but on cold hospital cot surrounded by white-clad medics. Air smells of disinfectant, not fog. Fluorescent lights hum steady. Outside, Kiro lies on cot beside, eyes closed. Vital monitors glitching with double heartbeat curve. They haven't recalibrated for his physiology. An older officer steps forward, broad shoulders, neutral gray uniform with insignia of the newly formed Unified Armistice Council. You both breached the exclusion zone 15 minutes ago, she says. Your message authenticated by biometric match. She nods to Kiro. Ceasefire protocols already signaled along the front. Mara's breath trembles. Loops? They'll fade? That's what Command hopes. But we still need inside intel on stabilization. And, the officer lowers voice, you two are the only subjects to cross alive since detonation. Whatever happened in transit merged your quantum signatures. Scans show entanglement. Your vitals echo each other. Separate recovery? Impossible. Yet, Mara squeezes Kiro's hand. Skin feels warm, real. We stay linked, we stay alive. Works for me. His eyes flutter open. Find hers. He smiles. Tired, relieved. Loop broken? Loop ours now, she whispers. Outside the ward windows, distant plumes of artillery fire dwindle, then cease. Radio towers broadcast the ceasefire message recorded on their tag. Across shattered trenches, soldiers lower rifles, waiting to see if the universe will reset or move forward. Back at Sarah Vale, probability fog shrinks hour by hour, drawn inward like a healing wound. Quantum echoes fade. The sun sets and rises normally. The war, which once devoured futures, suddenly chokes on one: peace. Mara spends 6 weeks in decontamination rehab, where physicists probe her and Kiro's linked vitals. They speak often, sharing broken memories. On day 31, loop limit day, doctors brace for neurological collapse. Instead, both pass the cognitive test easily. Outside the fog, time flows straight. Sanity holds. The brass cartridge still hangs on her neck. Scratches quiet reminders. She keeps it unpolished. 6 months later, a memorial stands over Sarah Vale, a glass causeway where visitors watch the last swirling tendrils of quantum mist flare harmlessly against containment fields. Beneath the walkway, a plaque lists casualties, names of those who never exited the loop, their bodies neither recovered nor erased, suspended in possibilities scholars may study for decades. At the opening ceremony, Mara and Kiro wear civilian jackets. Reporters jostle. Microphones thrust forward. Sergeant Vance, Scout Drask, war heroes, quantum pioneers, symbols of unity. Any words? Kiro clears throat. Probability chose us by mistake. Peace shouldn't rely on mistakes. Mara adds, but sanity did. Ours. So preserve yours. Fight loops only if there's a way out. Flashbulbs pop. They walk away from cameras to the railing where fog twists in pale blue petals. Kiro hands Mara a small object. The chest knight, edges polished clean. She laughs softly. You kept it. New ritual, he says. When I doubt reality, I look at this and remember outcomes can change. She turns the knight over, sees an inscription laser-etched along its base. Loop 31, never again. Mara pockets it beside the brass cartridge and threads her fingers through his. Chords of 2 lives now permanently in harmony. They stand quiet while the last echoes of war dissipate below, leaving behind a landscape where time finally obeys itself and where a single message, carried through madness by two stubborn fighters, proved that even probability storms must bow to human resolve.